Hey guys, I don't know if you guys were so ambitious, but there's a secret ending to the Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake game.
There is? What the hell is it?
Really?
I thought I played the whole thing.
Well, yeah, you probably did, but you gotta do all the puzzles and get all the presents in like an hour gameplay without maybe dying two or three. Anyway, here's what happens, since I'm sure no one else really did this. It plays the ending as normal, and then you get Mario sitting in a room by himself watching TV. And he's flipping through the channels, the same ones, bananas, and all this other shit, until he finally lands on Lake Juliet, do. Go where the sky is blue. Bring Luigi too. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na. Come on.
Oh my god. This is what it... I cannot believe you. Let's start the show.
Step into video game land. Welcome to Fine Time.
Hello, party people. It's your boy Trey. Fuck. I hate... God damn it. Steve, that intro wasn't... You're not supposed to make me laugh. Okay? I'm supposed to groan, and then we're supposed to go on with the show so I don't ruin a take. But I'm going to keep it. It's your boy Dre. It is a fine. It is a time. It is a Steve.
I think laughing is a form of groaning, isn't it?
Maybe it is, Kevin.
Good morning.
Wow.
What's your problem?
Jesus Christ. All right. We all played the Mario vs. Donkey Kong game on the Nintendo Switch systems, and we're all going to talk about it. Does this game need any introduction? Should we even introduce it? Surely everyone knows what Mario vs. Donkey Kong is.
No, everyone knows what Mario vs. Donkey Kong got bastardized into, because holy shit. Did you see the lengths they went to in the Direct to show us, no, this isn't the Lemmings thing anymore. Look, it's Mario's puzzle platforming thing. Look at him grab onto that monkey tail on the bottom there, instead of doing the toys thing. I know I picked on Stellar Blade's presentation for going way too ham on what a video game is, but here they had to. There were 6 of the fake Lemmings games. 6!
Oh my god.
It is not hard to see why they did the DS one and even a filler one for DSi. And I like those, but it's like, they made 6. NST, what happened when, McMuscles? Come on.
I feel like he already did that covering Project Hammer, but whatever.
No. What happened after that? Come on. No.
Nothing happened. That it was a barren wasteland.
Oh my god.
the Earth stood still for. It's like when the meteor hit the dinosaurs and the Earth stood still for 400 million years or whatever, and then
6 mini Marios before they were allowed to remake this game in F-Zero 99.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm glad they're back, and that's what I said about F-Zero 99. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I kind of forgot there was that many Lemmings clones, because I remember getting the first DS one, and I was like, well, that's not what I want at all, so I didn't really play it very much.
I didn't hate them at all, but at first, but then it's like, okay, that's fucking enough. And then the last one was with Amiibo. You had to bring your Amiibo in. And yeah, I had them, but I didn't.
Oh my god.
But it was free to download, but I didn't want to, okay, can we go back to Mario versus Donkey Kong now?
That the Amiibo, that just made me profoundly upset. Anyway, let's move on. So Nintendo has done recently like a number of remakes, especially like 1-to-1 remakes, whether it's like, Link's Awakening or Metroid Prime Remastered, or even the more recent Super Mario RPG. Check last month's feed to listen to that episode that we did on that. And upcoming is Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, so they're kind of in the mode of doing this. And that's the question I want to pose to you guys. Does Mario versus Donkey Kong deserve to stand with those? I think let's start with you, Kevin, because I think when this was revealed at the Direct, you were kind of the most skeptical of like, did we really need to be doing this? So I kind of want to hear your take.
there's just only so much you can really do with this. I think just just by virtue of the gameplay being restricted to a certain thing, what they did art and animation wise is entirely appropriate for this game, but it is maybe a little sterile feeling because I don't feel like you can expand on it that much. And Link's Awakening is probably a apt comparison in a way, because I felt like they were able to inject a lot more personality into that remake, as opposed to this just having this looked nicer and it felt fresher, but it feels a little restrictive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and obviously Link's Awakening 2019 had a much higher budget. I mean, look at it, right? Like, obviously they went like full, I mean, like, again, we don't know how much money they spend on anything, but it definitely is more than the typical. It definitely is more than this. I think we can say that. It's definitely more than Super Mario RPG.
If they had a budget to the moon for this, what could they have done to what could they have done to use it?
I mean, see, that's a great question, right? Maybe nothing. Maybe this is exactly what this should have been. The only thing I could say maybe is that they could have done an approximation of really high quality 2D. Like, that Kirby Canvas Curse game on Wii U is a dumpster fire for many reasons, but it looks great, right? It's 1080p. It has that like very, I don't want to say claymation. That's not correct. But like that kind of like art style, it looks crazy good, right? They could have done something like that. This Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake, I think, Steve, sticks so close to the original graphics and the original art style that it's not really allowing itself to do something crazy.
I mean, in the end, I think it was fairly obvious that the budget for this was whatever they found in the NST office couch. So
13 cents and a stick of juicy fruit.
And when they requested, oh, look, we need a few more bucks, they got whatever was in Doug Bowser's couch. So, you got what you got. I mean, it wasn't awful. It was restricted, but it wasn't awful. Watching Donkey Kong run away from world to world with the sack with the same animation again was oddly hypnotic.
Oh no, come back. I'm surprised that they made him say that every time. It's kind of weird.
Stop, come back.
It almost sounded sarcastic. Oh no, stop. Don't run away so far. By the way, just since it's on my mind, the voices in general, I couldn't tell if those are re-recorded. I mean, look, it's been 20 years since I played the original because that's when it came out. But like, I don't remember all those voices, like the mini Mario voices, like "Come back, Mario." I thought that was like fun. One, that was really creepy. Two, I don't remember that in the original. Were they there?
Yes, that was like the one thing that stuck out to me too, and it was even creepier on GBA. Here, it's a little cute. Back then, it was like, "Come back, Mario," almost like Toad, but a toy.
Mario. Come back. It was weird. Yeah, maybe it was creepier. I do not remember at all. I just remember loving the original.
I think we hit a consensus between ourselves that it's pretty much it's just the same recordings uncompressed, because we went through the credits. Afghani was not tapped at all for this, not even for looping or anything, but this is the Martinet recordings.
Afghani?
Kevin Afghani, he's the new Mario.
First of all, I fucking know that. I'm telling you to tell the audience that, so you don't need to say it that way to me, okay? Jesus fucking Christ.
To be fair, I was with Steve. I thought you kind of had a momentary lapse and were asking about it.
I'm trying to help. I'm being a man of the people, and this guy's giving me lip.
I don't know. I feel like the audience knows better than me all the time these days, so what do I know?
I mean, goddamn. Anyway, yeah, I think they are re-recordings, because listen to that intro and all the voices, the bananas, the buy them all, all of them are dead on. If that's a re-recording, that is like the best voice job ever in the history of because it is spot on.
You couldn't do that twice.
Yeah, you can't replicate those, I don't think. Well, speaking of the intro, So, for those who don't know, who haven't played the GBA original, it's not a fully animated CGI sequence. They are CGI stills of a scene. So it's like a flip book. It just kind of like goes through different key animations, if you will, if you want to think about it that way. And there's like maybe 20 of them per scene or something like that, if even that. Mario vs. Donkey Kong Remake on Switch fully animates those sequences. Completely in the exact same manner that you think they should look like. It's kind of remarkable. It's a really good job. Steve, it almost makes me think that maybe those always existed and the GBA just couldn't squash them good enough. And so they did the slideshow instead.
No, I buy that explanation because they weren't just stills. They had voice. Well, not voices. It wasn't like fully voiced, but you had like toads and things working in the factory making noises like, "Oh boy, time to pick the toys," or whatever they were doing. And that's, you know, like over the stills. I'm like, I think they planned a little more here for this, but they didn't.
That's interesting. Why do you
it.
guys think that? That's it's just an interesting take.
Because it's so exact. It's so spot on to like the original, like you've played it like in the last couple of years, I think, Mario vs. Donkey Kong Game Boy Advance. Like, so bit. You know what? Yeah, so you know what we're talking. Well, you've at least seen the intro, right? So it's so exact. I don't know. It almost. I mean, look, that could not be the case. We could be full of shit, but like, I don't know. It seems plausible to me. I mean, we'll never really know the truth.
I just find it hard to imagine that they like didn't understand the capabilities of the Game Boy Advance enough, and they like made some like semi full motion video and then like threw a lid on it because they realized it couldn't be done.
This was a GameCube project once.
Was it?
Oh,
wasn't Donkey Kong Plus supposed to be on GameCube, and this was supposed to have a level editor.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Gotta be real.
Oh boy.
Don't even know this. Okay. I mean, you want to tell the people, how much do you know about this Donkey Kong Plus?
I know about what the internet knows. Back in 2002, Nintendo showed off they showed off what could generously be called a tech demo between something running on a GameCube and things on a Game Boy Advance that had a slightly nicer looking Donkey Kong 94 assets, and they had like a few levels you can play, but they also teased a level editor, and this was definitely a project that was supposed to come out in the future. They did not show this again in 2003, and then all of a sudden in 2004, look guys, Mario vs. Donkey Kong is here. Isn't that something? And then
okay.
they said, and then apparently when asked about the level editor, they said they did not have time to implement it, and then they tried to cop out again by saying, but look, here it is in Mario's Marchin' Minis, or whatever the fuck the first DS game was called out of 6.
I think it was Marchin' Minis.
Marchin' Minis. Look, that's the level editor. You people fucking happy yet? And I'm like, I don't know. This isn't quite it, but I guess this will have to do for an explanation in 2006.
I didn't know Steve harbored such ill will towards you. You really wanted that Mario versus Donkey Kong level editor. You wanted like Mario versus Donkey Kong Maker, I guess.
I mean, I kind of wanted it now in this game, but you know.
Oh, this doesn't have any budget for that.
It doesn't. I mean, it would have been nice to have just finally bring it full circle. I don't think there would have been like a road to 100 Donkey Kong levels like you and your Mario Makers, but I think I could have had like the Boulevard to 10 Donkey Kong levels.
Boulevard to 10. I mean, I don't think I would have messed with it too much. I don't think I would have had the aptitude for that kind of thing. Then again, that's what I said about Mario Maker. I thought I was just going to go online and play courses rather than really. I'd probably make a couple, you know.
This would be
I made 100.
This would be a lot more. It's a lot more making puzzles. There would be a lot less creativity. I think you could get away with here.
Probably, you could probably do a lot less wacky shit. Now, obviously, the enemies in the original were also, could you say, toyified, right? I mean, that was the idea. Mario versus Donkey Kong stealing the toys, the mini Mario toys. So all the Mario enemies are also toys. In that fashion, it fits the motif. But, you know, you can only get away with so much detail on Game Boy Advance with those pre-renders at that chunky resolution that Kevin loves so much. So, but here on Nintendo Switch, those details really pop now. I love that the thwomps in the spooky house, it's not the ghost house anymore, it's a spooky house, by the way. I don't know why. So, but the thwomps in the spoopy house are toyified to where like their different facial expressions turn on like that rotating cylinder. You know, on this side he's angry, this side he's kind of perturbed. This one he's just, well, none of the thwomps are happy, I guess, but you know, different. I love that. That's such a cool little detail. Same with the boos. They have that wind up key on their back, but then they also have that like visible seam around the front of their face. Almost look like they're kind of like stitched together right there, almost like a plushie. You know, I really like those kind of details. They're great. The wind up ninjas too, I think, are excellent, Steve. I like ninjas in general, but the wind up ones, you can't beat it.
Ninjas are great, but I also like the wind up gators. The bit of a throwback to Donkey Kong Jr. Where they were more bear trap back then, but here they're like cuddly and more, you know, more like closer to Crocodile Dennis than something that would kill you.
They're called clap traps, right? I'm not making that up.
Clap traps are the little guys in Donkey Kong Country. I don't know what they're called in Donkey Kong Jr. The clap traps are the little blue ones that
I understand that, but I thought they got that from Donkey Kong Jr.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I could be wrong. Okay, we've stalled long enough. I must talk about the music in this game because can we just say up front, it's the best part of the game. It's the best part of this remake.
Very, very notable.
The music is very strong.
So in the credits, I noticed that it was re-recorded by the original sound guy at NST, Lawrence Schwedler, as evidenced by the credits crediting Schwed Studios Incorporated, of which I can only assume is a music outfit spearheaded by one Mr. Lawrence Schwedler. I can't imagine anyone else would name their studio that. So, and the music in this game is special. Like I liked it in the original, but the re-recordings make everything. It's probably one of the biggest glow ups I've ever heard for like just note for note remaking music. It's incredible. And I want to describe something fairly specific. I'm sorry, guys. I know Steve loves when I do this about music, but I need to say this because I think it's important here. So I love when anything, movie, you know, cartoon, video game, whatever, when they imagine a big city as some sort of like jazzy and cool spot, because the city is like hustle and bustle, right? There's taxis going everywhere, people going to and from work and restaurants and shit. You know, it's loud and people honking, whatever you think of, right? But then that's also tempered by this nice jazzy, cool temperament. This sort of feeling is often attributed to New York City. And if any fan of Street Fighter 3 knows that the signature song in all three Street Fighter 3s is an extremely 90s hip hop thing, literally called Jazzy NYC. So, you know, I think that's like a thing people think of worldwide, not just in America. Kevin, I think the music in SimCity 3000 kind of captures this, for example. I felt that a lot when I played that game. Yeah, and like obviously Mario has this too, not in just this game, but what's New Donk City, right? It's that vibe I'm talking about.
I definitely know it. Yeah, I think when I was playing this, I had a very similar thought, and it was probably a little bit less. You know, you're talking like hip and cool, jazzy downtown, and in my mind I had associated this more with like a downtown city from maybe late '80s or early '90s cartoons. I was thinking about Oliver from Oliver and Company, like exploring a downtown city. It's got that kind of thing going to it to me.
Absolutely. So you know exactly what I mean. Okay, I was afraid I was insane here. I was like, I feel like this is a thing, but I guess maybe not. But okay, you get what I'm saying. Oliver is a really good reference point for that. Actually, that might be more accessible to people than Street Fighter fucking 3. But yes, I'm glad you. So I'm glad you said that. But yeah, as for the individual tracks, I almost don't even know what to say. Like that bassoon sound in the jungle, I feel like it's a bassoon anyway. Not that I've ever played one. The bonus round saxophone, sexy saxophone bonus round. Holy shit. Wow. I love the forest melody. It's like, it's menacing. It's like kind of sweet, right? But it has that bit of malice too. Like it feels dangerous and sweet at the same time. It's a really great trick. It could go either way depending on your mood or depending on what's going on in the game if you have a claptrap up your ass. Like, it's just excellent. The spoopy house, as I mentioned earlier, has that sort of jazz odyssey in it. I thought the original music was just fine and occasionally sometimes pretty good, but these re-recordings are fucking fire. I would buy this on a vinyl to play on a player I don't have. I honestly, I feel like that's kind of it, right? Like, I mean, do we have anything else to say about Mario vs. Donkey Kong? Sorry we haven't talked about the gameplay, but I really don't know what to say. I mean, it's Mario vs. Donkey Kong as we've always known it. So, like, if you guys got... I kind of just wanted to talk about the quality of the remake, which we have. So if you guys have anything else to say, go for it.
Gameplay wise, I wish that just overall this package was I do and I don't. This is fairly easy, and I really never felt stumped playing this. Aside from that fucking World 8 level where you have to hold the chain under the one enemy to get him to go on a different cycle from the other enemies. You guys know what I'm talking
Jesus
about?
Christ.
They never
obnoxious.
fucking explain that as a concept, and it sure wasn't intuitive. I was fucking pissed off at that. Anyways, other than that. It was pretty easy, but that was also a good thing because I gold starred everything up until the expert levels, and it was just something I did. I didn't really have to think about it, and that did feel kind of refreshing. But by the time I did get to those expert levels, they have a little bit more teeth to them. But I was just kind of ready to put this down. I'm glad they're there because I can see in a couple months going back and picking this up and being glad to have some more content. So the difficulty is a thing, and I think it's going to kind of be your mileage may vary on how you take that.
100% agree. It wasn't really that hard. I didn't really think it was that hard at the time either, Steve. It was just it's kind of a breeze, especially compared to Donkey Kong 94. It is.
Well, it's a portable game, and it was built that way, and that's going to carry through here. You play a level or two, and then, it's time to get off the bus, and then you turn it off and come back to it later. You're not meant to blow through it the way we have, or I did, where, look, all the plus levels are done already, and now I'm kind of sick of seeing this shit, even though there's still a handful of star levels I need to do.
Plus levels are better than the regular levels, right? The mini Mario, for sure.
They are, and it's probably where they got like, you know what, this is pretty neat. Let's make 6 games of this.
There's no way. The other games were not like that. You had to
no, they're not. But I'm like, someone probably made some sort of unfortunate connection.
Can we have a brief sidebar and just again talk about how much I appreciate that Steve's handheld experiences are always related to playing it on the bus?
Yeah, it's always there's a lot of bus going on.
I like that.
There is. I do like the bussing. I mean, I did a lot of bussing when I was a kid too with the Game Boy. It happened for sure. I talked about this on our friend Rick's podcast, Pixel Project Radio. I did a thing with him about the 3 Super Mario Lands, and I said Super Mario Land 2 was my bus game. I played that shit on the bus a lot. I can't not think about the bus when I think about that game. So yeah, I get it.
I also, and I feel bad taking us this direction because I kind of didn't want to, but I need to. I have to talk about the price here, and the price is not something I usually like to bring up, and I feel very strongly about games having the subjective value of them not having a relation to length or the production value. I just somehow this being a $50 American dollar game feels off to me, and I can't fully articulate why. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I don't think that there was anything else they really should have done with this as a remake for what the original product was. I think they did what they were supposed to do. But with Link's Awakening, I never thought about that being full priced, and maybe it's just because of the simplicity of this game, right? I really enjoyed playing this, but it doesn't like hit with that Nintendo magic, and so I don't think it demands that $50 price tag. I could see an indie game being designed with all of the same mechanics and level design as this game, and being released for $20 with the same amount of content. Maybe not with the same production value, but again, I feel like you kind of can disregard that when talking about the price. And maybe just, again, also because they are double dipping on this. So I don't know. I feel like this should have been 40 American dollars. Am I fucked?
I mean, I wouldn't say you're fucked. I do disagree, though. I want to hear what Steve has to say first, though.
It'd be nice if we had more flexible pricing in games. Yes, Zelda is 70, and more ambitious remakes like Another Code in Mario RPG were 60, and even this is 50. But I'm like, would this have been nicer at 40? Yes, but at the same time, it's nice to see it all. I mean, you're saying it's double dipping, but when was the last time this came out? On Virtual Console on Wii U? Who played it there? Or the Game Boy Advance original? I mean, like at some point, it does have to get reintroduced, and I don't know. Maybe 50 wasn't the price, but it's not the worst price either. I could see most people waiting for a sale, and I think some people are waiting for a sale based on the initial sales numbers, but we'll see.
Well, waiting for a sale on a Nintendo game is always a fool's errand, as we well know. But if you're inclined to go that route, man, I don't know. I feel like 50's fair for this. I really do. I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't look at the price and be like, really? I don't know. I feel like 50's fine. I do.
I was fine with 50, but I was like, a lot of other people are not going to be happy with this.
I was almost one of them. To be honest, I wasn't really planning on playing this, mostly because I just didn't feel like dropping the money on it. And then the day it came out, it just kind of like struck me as, yeah, you know what, I'm in the mood for this, so let's do it. But it wasn't premeditated.
Yeah. Is that it? Did anyone try the multiplayer? I know it exists because
Why?
Nintendo likes to shoehorn that shit in.
It's a single player experience. Everything's on the same screen. Why would you need a second player? Why would you need that?
I don't know, but they love to do that.
I know.
So here it is. I don't even know I assume the other person's just a random toad or something like usual. I don't even know what happens. Oh, is that it? Okay, I was just joking. I swear to God, I didn't know that. Okay, of course they are. See, how did I know that?
They pulled them from the toy factory. They're like, okay, you're going to help me puzzle platform now. Oh, okay.
Oh, my God.
Now I feel like one of us should have tried the multiplayer for science.
Well, that would have been you with the other people at home to play with.
I mean, way to rat me out. Jesus Christ. How do you know I just don't have any... Never mind. I should stop talking.
These guys are being modest. I'm fully confident they have multiple lovers around per week.
Yeah, but good luck getting any of them to play Mario versus Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Those lovers all think it's too expensive.
Yeah, $50? No, thank you. Let's go back to bed. So we played one other game collectively that we want to talk about real quick called Pocket Card Jockey. Now, this was revealed and shadow dropped in last week's Partner Direct, and Nintendo Partner Direct. And so we all thought we'd give it a try on Nintendo Switch. It's $15. I guess this is a 3DS port. I guess there was also an iOS/Android version, and I assume that this is this version now on Switch without whatever microtransactions or whatever they do to make money on mobile. So I can't speak to that. So this is the first time I'm ever playing the game. You guys are already familiar with this, particularly Steve. I guess you had an affinity for this on 3DS.
Yeah, I love the 3DS original. It's on Apple Arcade, and contrary to what Andre said, I didn't buy this Switch version because I figured, well, it might come to Android someday, and as a touchscreen game, I might prefer to just play it there on the fly when I have less to do and not at home. This is $15. I mean, if you got $15 and nothing else to play on Switch, it shouldn't be missed. But I don't know. I feel like there were other Game Freak things to do, but like everyone should play Pocket Card Jockey.
What other game? Hold on. What other Game Freak things? What do you want? Timbo the Badass Elephant Definitive Edition.
Oh no, I'm thinking more. I'm thinking more Harmonite or. Well, not maybe or maybe not Drill Dozer. It depends on how Pepper Grinder turns out later. We'll get into that later in our show. But
Drill Dozer Deluxe.
Look, we all know that's coming to Game Boy Advance and Nintendo Switch Online. Just relax. But what did you guys think of Pocket Card Jockey? Whatever subtitle they added to it.
I don't think they added anything except Pulseman 99. Okay, I'm done with the Game Freak jokes. So okay, I'll say this because I was the most skeptical about this, and rightfully so, because I'm very used to people who didn't peace out during this era of Nintendo, this Wii U 3DS era, including you guys. There seems to be a lot of overvaluing of these games sometimes. I cannot tell you how many times I heard glowing reviews of stuff that is so mid, like Dylan's Rolling Western or something like that, or Box Boy. Box Boy is fucking fine, guys. It is not some masterpiece. Oh, it came to Switch and no one cares. Yeah, because it's Box Boy. Okay? Like, I'm not going to sit here, like, although all those era games seem to be just fine. So I figured I'd pick up Pocket Card Jockey and be like, it's just fine. So, I came in with some bias. So that's what I'm admitting. But this is a cool little game. This is a lot of fun. I totally see how people spoke of this fondly. It's a great trick. It feels like the complication of a racing sim, like one of those Koei games of old. I'm sure they still make them. What are these called? Winning Pocket? What are they called? Winning Jockey? Winning?
Isn't it? Oh, come on.
I don't remember. Winning Post. Winning Post. I figured it'd be like one of those or something, but no, this is like, it has some pizzazz, It's a cutesy style. I love the horses. By the way, they're cute as hell. I love the little faces, little scrunched up faces they make when they're running fast. I'm sorry. Maybe I should have started with describing the gameplay. I just started talking aesthetic here. But yeah, so like you basically play solitaire as your horses run around the track. And depending on how well you do at the solitaire, you win or lose the race. Now, there's a lot of other factors, Kevin, but honestly, I think it just comes down to playing the solitaire. Because I don't really think anything else matters.
I feel a little bit better. I'll get there. I was a little bit hesitant as well, just given this one being a mobile port, but I did really like the 3DS one. So this was a day one buy, and I am happy to report that the mobile port translated pretty well. You know what I would like the most about these games is the fucking presentation of them. There's just something about this cutesy little horse getting all jacked up and then starting on fire. And then there's these big like casino font numbers that pop up, and there's card suits, and it's such a like blending of like a gambling aesthetic with like a like little squash character cutesy aesthetic, and I like the humor. The game feels polished. It's just nice. But I am glad you brought that up because, to be honest, I totally forgot about this when I played the 3DS one. I felt like I never 100% understood what was going on. And I feel the same playing this one. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know how to effectively play this, but I don't know how all of the numbers are being calculated and how everything interacts. I just know what I'm supposed to be doing. At one point, because if you get second place, the suggestion horse pops up and he's like, you know what, you needed to save more energy so that you could do the final push. And like what it worked around to him was basically telling, play the solitaire good to do that. And I was like, okay, I can be effective here without understanding exactly what they're trying to tell me with these numbers. And I'm having a great time doing it. So that's okay.
Yeah, basically, he just says like get perfect scores on the solitaire so you don't run out of stamina. Well, bro, I mean, I'll try. I mean, I you know, like,
it's just such a like funny concept for them, like because when you do the tutorial, like there's constant like there's this going on and there's this going on and there's this going on and they overload the shit out of you. But yeah, that's when it boils down. It's like play the solitaire good. That's it. You have to like manipulate where your horse is going to be on the track regarding like the difficulty of solitaire you're going to play, and that like difficulty section is going to move back and forth, and you want to get in front of the cards so that you run into them to get bonuses and stuff. And that's all pretty straightforward. It's much easier than how the tutorial makes it out to be.
Yeah, it makes it seem like it's well, okay, yeah, I don't understand the numbers either, because like, okay, so it's like here's your stamina thing, it has a heart or whatever in the upper left corner, and that's your stamina, but then you have like the numbers on fire in the top middle where it's like, okay, what are those numbers? And then once you come around the final stretch, it gives you some numerical value of like stretch power, 68 or something. It's like, well, that's none of the numbers I just saw. I don't even know how that's being calculated. Like what is that?
Yeah, well, and there's also numbers in the bottom left that on that icon that shows how happy your horse is, and those numbers migrate up to the numbers in the center top, and I don't fully know what's going on there.
Steve is
I was going to ask, is Steve just sitting here being like, you guys are so fucking dense?
Come on, lay it on us.
No, you're pretty much right, because when I was playing the original, that I pretty much played solitaire good too, and hoped it would work out, because it pretty much did when solitaire played good and it worked out. The way you're listening to too, like I don't know what's going on, but it seems to be going okay. It's pretty much how I felt playing another Game Freak game more recently, Giga Wrecker, where I kind of sort of know what's supposed to happen, but it's not working and I'm not having fun. So, but here this actually works.
Yeah, no, it just play the solitaire good.
I do actually want to throw a quick shout out to the solitaire itself, because this is not Spider Solitaire. This is not Klondike. I don't know that this is actually like an established version of solitaire the way it works, but I do like the solitaire mechanics themselves, because you are trying to go fast, but there is quite a bit of like strategy into like how can I like manipulate my cards to like go one up, one down, one up, one down, and then like get a chain, rather than like you're not like just looking for like a sequence of numbers. You can go directly up, and then you're also looking at like what cards, because you know what cards you can uncover by using those cards. So I really like that. The solitaire is very engaging in itself.
Yeah, it's really cool. Also, I do like that the helper horse or whatever, when you do shitty, it's like, hey, how about just go buy some items? Like you can you can cheat. Just go buy them. I guess
shit for your horse.
Yeah. To wrap this up, I do like the music. The music in this game is really great. There's like some really casino like songs that play, like jazzy and loud and brassy or whatever. There's that. There's some stuff that has like kind of a rock flair. There's one that had this like weird industrial touch to it with like voices. That was bizarre. I was like, I didn't expect that from Pocket Card Jockey. But here we are. So and good music in a game like this is a must. You have to have good music, because it's a fairly passive game. You're just playing solitaire here and there, right? So you got to have that to keep your mind going, and this game does have that. So it's good.
Fuck, I'm all fired up on Pocket Card Jockey now. I'm going to go blow my life savings at the track on break.
Don't do that. Us two coastal elites have been to the track several times, and we can tell you that the horse betting doesn't always work out for you.
I'm doing it anyways.
All right, we'll be right back to talk Nintendo Partner Direct in a sec. We're back. We're going to get to that Nintendo Partner Direct showcase, rather, in a second. But first, there was a Pokemon Presents a couple days ago. Me and Kevin are not Poke people, but Steve is a Poke person. So he's going to tell us what happened in that Pokemon Presents real quick.
Yeah, so like Andre just said, there was a Pokemon Presents the other day. And you know what? It wasn't completely awful. Yeah, you had to wade through the usual, here's our updates, go find the funky Venusaur in Scarlet and Violet, and here's the thing going on in Pokemon Cafe, and all the other nonsense. But after all that, we got to have a look at something they're calling Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket. It's a pretty neat-looking app for your cell phone telephone where you open packs of Pokemon cards, build deck, and play some kind of simplified rules of the game. They weren't entirely clear on how that's supposed to work, but I've honestly been wanting something like this for a while now. I know I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, and that's kind of gotten a bit far up its own ass, so something a bit more simplified sounds a bit right up my alley. But what really appealed to me, oddly enough, was the pack opening animations. They really made sure we saw this guy physically on a phone, tearing into a virtual pack of cards and flipping through them, very carefully looking at them. And I don't know, it just looks satisfying as hell. Never mind that, they seem to have cards from all over the game's history. Even if I can't sniff the cards. Wait, why would I want to sniff cards? Anyway, speaking of things you could smell, there's those other cards with dynamic art or whatever the heck they called that. Well, what's that? A second Lucario in the grassy knoll. Get down, Professor Oak! But, us friends of Poke Pals didn't want to hear about that really so much. We want to really hear about Pokemon Legends ZA. Previously on Fine Time, you might recall when me, Kevin, and everyone that played Legend Arceus loved the fuck out of it, and we wanted more. We wanted more Legends, and not whatever the heck Scarlet and Violet was. It's fine, but we want more Legends. We want expanded looks at older places. This wasn't exactly what we thought. ZA is the third part of X and Y. We're going back to the sixth set of games world, and more specifically, one spot. It's a Lumio City on the grow. Some people are scared by this idea, but me, as a person that plays games other than Pokemon, would recall games like Batman Arkham City and Final Fantasy Remake take place in just one city. And wouldn't you know it, there's lots of things to do in just one city. So, that's good, because X and Y kind of rushed that aspect of this city and just places in particular. And this gets doubly corrected with a very vague 2025 release. Does this mean it's a dual release Super Switch release? I mean, I hope so, but probably not. But this does mean it looks like they're going to have the time they need to get this the way it needs to be for, next year and not this summer. And it's going to look bad. And oh no, how sad that's going to be for everyone again. And the Power World takes over our lives. No, I'm just kidding. But and I still get to hold out hope that something real big is coming for the fifth set of games on next-gen Nintendos, right, Game Freak? Right? Okay, that's enough out of me. It's time for Andre and Kevin to Pokemon Wake the Hell Up. Huh?
I have a Pokemon Presents question for you before we move on, because I keeping in mind these aren't happening all of the time, but it does seem the general consensus usually is there was, a bunch of stuff we kind of had to sit through to get one treat or maybe two treats at the end. Would they be better served to do these even less frequently and just have more all killer, no filler?
They only do these 2 or 3 times a year, and Pokemon has a lot of ongoing service things, so I get why they do it this way. It would be nice if more of them had games to show. I remember one where they really leaned on, okay, guys, here's Pokemon Unite and nothing else, and that was just kind of a bummer for everybody. But I mean, I think even if they just show up with one game, and in this case, we got two. I think that can be enough.
Okay.
Since I'm in the Pokeverse, and I sometimes when I watch these, I'm like, oh yeah, Pokemon Unite. Oh yeah, Pokemon Sleep. Oh yeah, that actually came out. Okay. It just reminds me of, oh yeah, Pokemon Master Sex or whatever it's called. We're just gonna let that. Okay, I guess fine.
What is Pokemon Master Sex?
So the Pokemon Masters, Pokemon Masters came out, and a couple years later they upgraded it to Pokemon Masters EX.
Oh,
Master
okay.
EX, but like the way the hashtag looked when they did it, it looked like Pokemon Master Sex. It basically,
Okay. I didn't know this. So in my defense, when you're like getting upset because you're not getting feedback, please put yourself in my shoes. When you're just dropping Pokemon Master Sex, how am I supposed to take that?
put yourself in my shoes, a normal person who has never heard of Pokemon Master Sex.
Look, I needed a second too, because even I'm like, look, I only played this game for like 3 days before I'm like, oh shit, I have other gacha games I'm playing. I'm in the middle of Fire Emblem Heroes and it's swimsuit season. I don't have time for Master Sex.
Well,
the chafing was getting to him.
It's just funny because that game's dialogue, especially at the beginning, was like aggressively horny for a Pokemon game. It was weird. Like Steve knows what I'm talking about. He's going to pretend that
I do know what you're talking about, but at the same time, they're all trying to pretend there's a story whenever I pop in and they show a trailer, but it's like, look, all I see is alternate outfit where you're wearing less clothing than usual. I know what this is about. You want us to buy the gems and roll the dice and hope the lady pops out. I know what this is.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, I'm here for the game news and less extensively what's going on in Scarlet and Violet.
All right, Nintendo Direct partner showcase. Let's just take the temperature of this before we start, as we usually do. I thought this was good. I was worried about this. I didn't think it was going to be that good. It was better than I thought it would be. Obviously, it's not a quote unquote real Direct, Kevin, but I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good for not a real Direct. If this was the caliber of what we got on a normal Direct, it would have been disappointing.
Yeah.
No, they knew what this was. It was a partner showcase. They didn't try to hide that. And for a partner showcase, this was fine.
Yeah, but sometimes, I mean, we've had these before, and it was just kind of, sometimes they're like, So per usual, we're just going to go through the things that we thought were notable, or at least notable to us. So we're not going to cover every single game, but just the things that we have something to say about. So we're going to start with the first one that was shown, and that was Grounded, the Xbox One era. What kind of game is it? Is like a survival game? I really don't know what you do in Grounded.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on. But
I would say that's accurate, a survival game. I only played this when it was in like early beta, but
we knew this was happening on other systems because of the Microsoft stuff we talked about last time, Steve. But do you have any interest, especially on Nintendo Switch?
See, this looks interesting, but I also thought, it looks like it's having a bit of a hard time here. Maybe I'll wait for Super Switch or PS5.
Yeah, and that's what Steve just said is going to be a running theme throughout this entire thing. So buckle up. But yeah, and maybe what I'm about to complain about actually does happen, and I just hang out with the wrong circles. But when it comes to Grounded, I feel like nobody makes the very obvious comparison to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Is that movie like too old now to matter or something? Or like, because I feel like it's basically Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, isn't it? With survival, with guns, I guess.
Andre, you're 100% right, but I have a very sad theory for why this might be.
Okay.
The children do not know what Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is.
No, I was afraid of this.
The last movie was a direct-to-video title called Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, where the parents get shrunk and screwed around the house. And then there was like a 3-season syndicated whatever show called that, but they didn't get shrunk all the time. It was just those characters played by other people.
I remember Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
Yes.
I remember that existing. I never saw any of the sequels. But Kevin, make your kids watch Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
To be fair, I do remember when this first came out for early access on Xbox, and I definitely did see lots of This Is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the game. So maybe everybody just got it out of their system at that point.
Well, it's new to us because we're apparently only play Nintendo Switch. So now we can call it Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
A Ranger. Was I the only one that dug this? Because I thought this looked really cool. I like those little fucking slidey puzzles where you have to slide the numbers into the right order, and that is the game. I don't think something like that has ever quite been done before, unless I'm totally missing something. It's got kind of a like Crypt of the Necrodancer thing going on, but I've never seen like a sliding puzzle video game quite like this.
This did look neat, but I honestly didn't have anything beyond. This looks pretty interesting. I'll put this on my wish list, and I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah, I thought it looked neat, too. I just didn't really have a whole lot to... Yeah, I was like, that looks cool. I'll throw like $15 at that or sometime if I think it feels, I don't know what they want for it or when it's supposed to come out, but yeah, I thought it was all right.
Would you pay more for this or more for the game where you sort the junk drawer in the kitchen?
I paid $15 for a little to the left. So I would probably pay about the same for this. Probably no more than $20.
This is on junk drawer sorting level for you then.
Oh my fucking God, you guys. And there was a cat. Don't forget about the cat, okay? You're forgetting about the cat.
They made sure you would remember that cat. That's how they wanted to sell you the game.
Then the cat reaches in a Ranger and starts pawing your face while you're trying to shift all the water.
If you don't want to sort out your rubber bands and broken screwdrivers, you fucking hate cats.
Yeah, you a cat hater. How dare you? That's what Steve is. That's why he hates it. Unicorn Overlord. We played the demo. They shadow dropped the demo. Wild name still, not over it. The new Vanillaware. I guess you could say it's like Ogre Battle 64. At least that's what I got out of it, Steve. And that's what I got out of this demo. And Vanillaware sure knows how to make a visual masterpiece, because if they're good at anything, they're good at that. And this game looks great. It really pops in 4K on PS5, of course. And that's how I played it. But that's about all I can say about it, because like one look at those stat screens, Steve, and it made my head swim. So I decided to turn it off before I got pissed off. So it looks great. Pretty great overwrought voice acting too. I really like the voice acting.
Yeah, the voice acting was fun, and I did play this on Switch because you all know me. But unlike Andre, I felt the opening was a little too hand-holdy, but the genre is very hand-holdy because everyone has to assume you've never played a strategy game before. Heaven forbid we ask if you need this for yourself. But and I'm sure this gets more complicated, unlike Andre's complaints of it making your head swim. I was kind of hoping we'd get, and maybe you do it further along the demo, but I really didn't want to commit all that time and then forget about it for a while, because I'm just missing that spark that says, I need this right now. I do want this, but I don't want it right this second, which I need to note is very different from the time I played DFL Chronicles on this show, and I said I never needed to touch that again. And so did everyone else when it dipped to like $10 a few months later.
I keep forgetting that exists. I remember just you dunking on it when it was first shown. What is it shown at a Switch thing? Maybe it was on like was it on a PlayStation?
It was on
State of Play.
State of Play first. and then later on, right before it came out, it was on a Direct, but that demo was like, this isn't it.
Yeah,
Unicorn Overlord is something, but I got too much else to do to just drop everything and start playing Unicorn Overlord.
Will you play Monster Hunter Stories Part 1 or whatever?
Okay. These guys at Capcom dragged their fucking feet on getting this to real consoles, because there's a version on Android with controller support included on Google Play Pass that I can load on my tablet right now. And if that turned out okay, I'm going to need some strong convincing to play this on real hardware. Amiibo. I'm going to need them to reprint the Amiibo that were compatible with that game, and finally bring them to America, because we didn't get those here. That's what I need in terms of convincing.
Well, first of all, you are a sick man.
Yes,
You're a
we
very sick
know.
man. Okay, the amiibo, it's okay if you don't have them. And I have a critical question about this game that I hope you can answer for me. What the fuck is Monster Hunter Stories? Like, I have no idea what this is. So is it just like a story? Is it like a point and click thing? Is it like, what do you do in Monster Hunter Stories?
It's a turn-based adventure with light monster raising in that you have mounts that sort of act, well, they're not like Pokemon or demons. Like, they're very akin to it, that you need them to fight other monsters and things across the game. But it's turn-based RPG. You could figure your way through Monster Hunter Stories. That you don't need to read a book and sit down for hours and hours like a real Monster Hunter game to figure out Monster Hunter Stories. You can pop in this or the second game and figure out what you're supposed to do if you've played an RPG before.
Okay. Yeah, I had no idea what kind of game it was, and even when they showed Monster Hunter Stories 2 a few years ago or whatever on that one direct, I was just like, I don't understand what this game is. So thank you for telling me that. So I think one thing happened here that I'm almost positive was you answered a listener question with something about remakes or re-releases or with, and that would be Epic Mickey. And this is called Disney's Epic Mickey Rebrushed. They're redoing it. It's coming back out, everybody. It's here. I never expected this. And I'm pretty sure I said that when you posited that on that show. I was like, I don't think they're ever doing that. Lo and behold, they're doing it.
Yeah, I had this on the mailbag. I forget which question that was. I'm sorry to our listeners, whichever one sent that in. And it's nice to see him have new abilities and things, but all I want to do, and they weren't clear on whether I actually can or can't, I want to play with detached Joy-Cons like they're Wii remotes, because it was fun as shit in that first game to have my paintbrush and my thinner just shooting and pointing and doing whatever. It was like, you're waving a brush around. It was magical almost in a way. I kind of want that back, even if it doesn't look as nice as it will on PS5.
There is something to that, right? Like, I feel like that's why I waited to play Okami on Wii, because the brushstroke thing with the Wiimote, I figured I don't want to play it any other way. Once it came out, I was like, I know they're going to do it eventually. And I waited, and Okami turned out to be okay for me anyway. But yeah, that's the reason why I waited. It was like, there is something to that. I do understand. So, see if you agree with me on this. The intro CG that they were showing for Epic Mickey was alarmingly high spec. That was 4K. That was 12K animation. What was that?
that was the Blu-ray they sent to Disney for approval.
Yeah, because that was crazy quality, right? I'm glad you agree. And then the actual game footage began. Woo, that looked kind of rough. I'm not gonna lie. It honestly didn't look any better than the PS3 version of Epic Mickey 2. It probably looked a little worse than that.
This is where I bring up that if you know, the console, quote unquote real console versions of Epic Mickey 2 were god awful. I said back in 2012, man, I'm gonna miss the paintbrush stuff, but it looks so nice on Wii U, and it just, after you finish that first chapter, it just runs like ass.
Yeah.
So now I have bad controls, and it's not looking as good as promised.
Speaking of running like ass, we got to talk about the reveal of Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, a game that ran like ass on Switch. It didn't matter because it's the best game on the system. Or the best RPG on the system, not the best game on Switch. Although it's up there. It's probably top 5 for me. But it ran like ass. That's the reason why, if I were giving it a letter grade, that's the reason why I would have to give it an A instead of an A+. The performance was just too bad. That will be fixed now with Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, because this is coming to all systems, not just Switch. And I can't wait. That game is beautiful. It was beautiful even on Switch with all of its flaws. I can't wait to see it on PS5. This art deserves it. That's the best way I can save it. This art deserves it. Artistically, Shin Megami Tensei 5 is incredible. Yeah, I want to play the new content. Even if it were the exact same game though, Steve, I'd be double dipping on PS5. this deserves, I don't want to say another chance because it sold 1 million copies on Switch. That doesn't mean it bombed or anything. At the same time, there's only a limited audience for these kinds of games that are not Persona, right?
1 million copies on one console is pretty good, I'd have to say. But even so, I think look, I'd love to jump in on PS5, but time is a factor, and I'm if I want to finish the Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance game in 2024, Switch is my best shot. Is no matter how nice graphics on PlayStation 5 are.
That is insane. I see absolutely no point in doing that. That's clinically insane behavior. I have no idea why you would do that.
How long did it take you to play through this when you played it?
Well, we had a big disparity. So he had 69 hours. Nice. I took 103 hours. That's what happened that's what we revealed to each other on our post-game show a couple years ago. And I was like, how did I take that much longer than you?
I still don't know what you did because I feel like I spent my whole time from the day it came out till almost Christmas time playing the game.
That's a big endorsement to be willing to replay something like that just to look nicer.
Well, I mean, there's new content too. There's a whole other path that like changes a bunch of stuff too. So I mean, yeah, it's going to be.
You're still going to play the base game again, right?
No, you can choose. You can play Shin Megami Tensei 5 as originally was, or you can play the Divergent path.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so you can choose which one you want to do. And obviously I'll choose the other one. And look, if I feel like being a real sicko, then I'll play the original path again. I probably will at some point in the future. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that.
I know you didn't like 4, but 4 was very replayable, and thank God it was. But I can't get into that now. I think 5 is too if I ever turned it back on again. But well, Vengeance is coming, so
yeah,
again, it'll be fine to play 5 again. But hey, how about Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection? I felt like I played a few games of this on PS5, not PS5. Oh my God, Andre and the PS5 chatter on PS2 back in the day at a friend's house, and listening to Kiefer talk about it with a guess that if I was a smarter person on a podcast, I would have remembered the friend's name. Talk about it on their show, Select and Start, on every podcatcher out there. It made me more interested in this game, but I was not about to ask my laptop to run whatever version was on Steam to play against bots. So this updated version where I could play with everybody all over the place sounds like just the jumping in point I need.
Yeah, it's it definitely looked very PS2-y. It doesn't look like they updated it too much. Doesn't need to. But yeah, those games online, I feel like though that's something people have been asking for a while versus like, well, here's the thing, right? Like, so we have 2 Star Wars Battlefront continuities, the recent EA ones that nobody likes, and now these. So it's like, I don't understand what we're doing out here, but whatever. Speaking of not understanding what we're doing out here, there was Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream, and I got to be real, Steve, I didn't know we were still out here in these streets still making Sword Art Online games. I did not know that.
That's because they're still out there in the other streets making Sword Art Online the anime with a different MMO thing that they get trapped in every season.
There's like a new MMO. That's how it works.
Well, that's like tangentially related to the one before it, and I lost track after the third one with the guns.
They added guns. Wow, Gun Art Online, IMO.
I'm like, okay, you know what? This is stupid.
Yeah,
I mean, it was stupid before, but now it's really stupid.
Yeah, Sword Art Online with guns doesn't sound right. So they revealed a exclusive to Nintendo Switch new Super Monkey Ball game called Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble. And after the disappointment, at least I was with Banana Mania, I tried to like it. There's some really good stuff about it, but there's stuff that's not great about it. I really hope they figure out how these games should feel and control, because I mean, that sounds stupid to say that since the original nailed it 25 years ago, practically, but we don't seem to want to follow that for some reason. These new developers who develop these seem to do whatever the fuck they want when it was perfect the way it was at the arcade on GameCube. I don't know why we keep fucking with it. It's not broke, so please don't fix it. It's weird that it's a Switch exclusive, though. It's kind of strange.
I'm not going to say we've seen the numbers, but the other versions must have to have sold like ass for them to not even consider. It's another monkey ball game. Like,
probably.
I mean, I see the Xbox One for $10 on Cheap Ass Gamer all the time.
Yeah.
Also, don't listen to Andre. Banana Mania was good.
Okay.
Like, it was good. Am I just a simple man and you just put a monkey inside of a ball and then that's good enough for me?
Maybe. I mean, look.
Yeah, this is a day one buy for me. It's going to be good. I know it's going to be good. There's a monkey in a ball.
I didn't play Banana Mania. I can't tie break this one. Sorry.
I don't want to get into it. It'll take too long. But yeah, I hope this is better. I'll look forward to it as long as it's 60 frames a second. What I'm not going to give a courtesy look is something called Another Crab's Treasure, because I'll tell you what, Souls-like as a word has gotten to the point where as soon as I hear it, I tune out of your description or your trailer or whatever. I don't want to hear it. It's just like the M word now. I don't want to hear the M word that we bleep on the show. I don't want to hear Souls-like either. No thanks.
I mean, not to completely echo what Andre was saying, but I was having fun watching this, and then the voiceover started. And this Souls-like crab fighter. Oh no. I hate that we're doing this. Everything, it's a modern thing that exists like in the present day ad copy. This we were having fun with this until you did that. Why'd you do that? maybe we'll pop in on Royale with cheese, because I'm not going to do this now. No, you ruined the party.
Yeah, no thanks. Penny's Big Breakaway. Shadow drop, Steve? Holy shit. The last time we saw this, it just said 2024. Okay, cool. I didn't know that was going to be that day. Wow. Like, yes. Incredible. When this was first shown, I had nothing but praise for it. It looked incredible. I said it had the chance to be something special, or it looked like it did anyway. And I got it on PS5 because after I saw the footage here in this direct that was pretty low res and easily 30 frames a second, I was like, no thanks. I'll take the 120 on PS5. So I've been playing it on PS5. I feel like I should wait to talk about this till I play the whole thing, but if it keeps on like it's keeping on, it will be what I thought it was going to be. So far, it is fantastic. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself. You never know yet. So, but that's how I feel so far.
There's a lot of people that got pretty jazzed about this, and I was a little bit surprised about it. I don't personally see the appeal to this, and I have a admission to make. You guys are going to hate this.
Oh no.
Not quality wise, but just aesthetically wise, this really gave me Balan Wonderworld vibes. Am I like completely off with that?
Yes.
It has the same tone. Do I just have PTSD from Balan?
Really? Because I feel like Balan's is asking kids to, hop in his van. I wasn't getting that vibe from Penny at all.
He's right, though. Has any singular demo fucked us up as a collective than Balan Wonderworld? I feel like that demo changed our lives for the worse.
Hey.
It really did. That's one of the worst things I've ever
coming from, though. At least is there a little bit of that vibe here?
I don't think you are 100% off base. I think you were like 90% off base. I see just a tiny sliver of how someone could get there. I do. You know why? It's the size of the characters on the screen relative to the camera. Like the size, you know what I mean? Because they're fairly small. And then the world is kind of big around it. Like, that's really the only thing I get from it. And the way the camera works and everything. In Balan, it's a free camera. And Penny's Big Breakaway, it's a fixed camera. But regardless, yeah, okay, I could see it from that angle. But other than that...
Seems like the way they use color schemes, I think, is a lot of it for me, maybe.
Nah, I just can't. I can't go there with you. Not right now.
Okay. Not DTF.
Nope, not DTF.
Pepper Grinder popped back in today, and a demo was made available. I played it. Andre brought up Drill Dozer before, and when it popped up in a indie world last year. That's kind of the vibe I was picking up from. Oh my god, they made Drill Dozer again. It's going to be so cool. I liked the game, but it wasn't quite everything I was hoping for in the 3 levels they gave us. I had fun playing it, but I was really hoping they'd lean into the drill stuff a bit more than they did. I mean, it played fine, but I felt like by the end of the demo, we already saw everything that there was to see. I hope I'm wrong. I'll probably pick this up on a sale, but I don't know. Kevin, I think you picked this one up too, didn't you?
Yeah, the demo, speaking a little bit more positively about it, I was a little bit more skeptical about this because just based on the gameplay, to be honest, I felt like this was going to be a shitty game to control. So I was curious to play the demo just because of that, and it actually controls great. I don't know if I want to play an entire game of that necessarily. Maybe I got kind of the same vibe you did, where I don't know if this is kind of a one-trick pony that we've seen in the demo or not, but I got a lot more what they were going for, and I think specifically the control scheme is a lot of what that game has going for it.
Guy, speaking of demos, one was made available for Contra, Operation Galuga. I did not play it.
Okay, PSA time. Guys, Contra, Operation Galuga, you don't have to do this. You really don't have to. Love yourself instead. Love yourself. Love yourself more than what WayForward affords you. Love yourself more than cursed ass 30 frames a second Contra on Nintendo Switch. And you know why it's only on Nintendo Switch? Because this is the only audience that'll actually sop that shit up.
The other night they had an AMA, and I was, I was my exhausted, sassy self. So I asked them, "Hey, so you guys really going to address the frame rate issue?" Like, no. And then they spun it back to me like it was my fault. Yes, there were frame rate issues in the demo, but the game was always meant to hit 30. What? Fucking a Contra remake, a game that's existed forever. You can't make hit 60.
Dude, love yourself, everybody. That's all I can say. Love yourself.
Fuck this game.
Yeah, that's all I can say, everybody. Just love yourself. Care about yourself more than this. You don't have to play it because it says Contra on it. Don't be a mark for this stupid shit. This sloppy shit. It's bad. Don't do it. Pentiment. They stuck it in the sizzle reel. Which made me laugh out loud. I was almost crying with laughter. Like, they made such a, like we said last time, we did all this stuff about Microsoft is going to bring this and that and that. No, Nintendo just stuck Pentiment in a fucking sizzle reel. Like,
I mean, to be fair, who remembered Pentiment until all of the Microsoft shit blew up?
I didn't.
I did. I saw this in a Microsoft thing a few years ago. I'm like, this looks pretty cool. And then, because this was around the time they started putting Cuphead on Switch, I'm like, maybe they'll sneak this in as an indie title. And then like, buy Obsidian. I'm like, nah, that's not gonna fly. So I'm like, guess I'm shit out of luck for now. But I get to play Pentiment now, and not only that. I've been buying less limited run games. This is on limited run. I'm getting a copy of Pentiment, physical copy of Pentiment for my Nintendo Switch. I need that thing that says Xbox games for Switch, just to stick it to the. We were like, no, that can't be. You can't be playing Xbox games on your Nintendo.
Because I follow a bunch of accounts and I see a lot of stuff on Twitter that I really don't want to look at for manning the podcast account. I saw a lot of kvetching from Xbox people who were like mad that the PS5 version of Pentiment was 120 frames a second, but that patch has not hit the Xbox Series X yet. So we Sony ponies get to play it at 120 frames a second, but they don't, even though it's quote unquote their game. So they were very upset about this. I just want you guys to know. Pentiment. These fucking look, I'm the frame rate whore, and even I'm like, okay, guys, it's Pentiment. Like, we don't need to like come on.
I couldn't imagine you being that frame intensive, but whatever.
Yeah, like I'm like, okay, please. Okay, they basically announced Rare Replay for Nintendo Switch Online. Not literally, but 5 Rare games came to Nintendo Switch Online: Shadow Drop, Snake Rattle and Roll, RC Pro-Am, Killer Instinct SNES, Yuck, Battletoads and Battle Maniacs, the SNES version, and Blast Core, all Shadow Dropped for Nintendo Switch Online.
I've been speculating on this since they, casually slid Banjo-Kazooie on that, and more games are coming to the expansion pass on Nintendo 64. Like, they're just going to start sliding in Rareware games now. They don't care anymore. And they were playing coy about it for some time, but now the gates are open. The shit's going to come in now.
Yeah.
And everyone online's like, where's Diddy Kong Racing and Perfect Dark and Conker's Bad Fur Day and Killer? Okay, well, the M-rated shit's not coming unless they make a separate app, but they put one expansion pass game a month. All that shit's on the table now. Just wait. It's coming.
Oh, shut. Yeah, people, please. This is cool. It's about time. I love this shit. Long overdue, in my opinion. I'm glad to see that 2 of these games are NES games in Snake Rattle and Roll and RC Pro-Am, because as I always say on the show, NES Rare is the best Rare. So I think that is very cool, and that's exciting news.
Also, another fun quick note, Battletoads and Battle Maniacs, not on Rare Replay.
Why? That's weird.
The arcade version of Battletoads is on there, none of the other ones.
That's so strange.
Not that they'd have an easy time at well, I'm sure they could have asked Arc System Works for Battletoads Double Dragon, but
yeah, they don't care. Arc System Works does not care what happens to any Technos property, as evidenced by River City Girls and other stuff that they let Way Forward do with it. They don't give a shit about any Kunio-kun, Double Dragon. They don't give a shit. So obviously, they wouldn't care if they put out Battletoads Double Dragon.
I'm sure we'll see that on the apps by the end of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if they put like all 3 versions out.
Oh my god! See, like I said, my friend had the NES version, so that's what I played. I've never played a 16-bit version, but I'm sure they're not. The NES version wasn't very good at all. So
I'm not saying they're good, but we can all compare notes and eventually.
So
yeah, it'll be funny.
They ended with something very strange, and that is they did the whole. We got one more thing to show you too. They did the whole bit, and that one more thing was Endless Ocean Luminous. What the fuck? Endless Ocean? Is this the strangest direct ender of all time? Like, Endless Ocean, like, really? Kevin, what the I mean, like, were you like,
I was going to ask the exact same thing when I seen that, because I think I could pick out probably 5 or 6 games that they showed off before that I would have said are definitely easily more appropriate to be a show ender than this. I kind of started wondering, did I just was Endless Ocean, beloved, and this totally passed me by? I didn't realize that this was such a banger. I don't know. It was weird.
Here comes Endless Ocean fanboy Steve to tell us all about it.
I can't wait to go back in, and Andre, him too. He can't wait to go diving again, right?
No, right? Thank you. No,
but no, it was the partner showcase, and it was nice to have Nintendo have one game, right? Unlike Japan, where instead of a Rare announcement, they're like, "Hey guys, Mother 3's coming on Game Boy Advance, Nintendo Switch Online." Isn't that fun? Like the internet doesn't exist and we weren't going to find out about that.
I knew he couldn't help himself. I knew it.
And that's all I'm going to say on the subject, because this was pretty good overall. But, it was the partner show. They could get away with showing Endless Ocean Luminous as an ender. On a real show, no. But on a partner show, okay.
I guess, man. That is such a baffling... Like, who cares? I'm glad that 7 people who played Endless Ocean 2 on Wii or something is very, very happy right now, I guess.
What's that? I need to do a whole episode about it around June? Okay.
Oh, please.
Yeah, you guys want to hear some timely news? Because just one show ago we were bitching about Switch emulation, and guess what? Now Nintendo is bitching about it too. Nintendo filed suit against Tropic Haze LLC, developers of the Yuzu emulator. So essentially, they're claiming Yuzu is facilitating piracy at a colossal scale and, quote, turns general computing devices into tools for massive intellectual property infringement of Nintendo and others' copyrighted works. Asking for the developers to be prevented from working on, promoting, or distributing the emulator, as well as requesting significant financial damages, which is, as far as I've seen, we haven't been given a general number value. It is notable that Yuzu is acknowledged to not have any copyrighted code or files, but Yuzu instructions specifically detail how to hack an older Switch to dump the decryption keys in game files, which is basically a roundabout way of explaining how to utilize illegally downloaded keys and ROMs that you get online. So Nintendo did trot out examples from Yuzu's Discord where developers were specifically discussing how to get copyrighted games running on the emulator and demonstrating that they were indeed aware of the use of the emulator to play illegally sourced titles. No shit. Yeah, crazy that people are doing this. We had no idea. We thought they were just going to make their own Doom ports for Switch and play those every time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that link you sent us with the one guy with the Doom port. I'm like, yeah, that's why you bought that, and not the $2 version with all the other actual expansions.
Yep, that's the reason.
That's why you allowed Yuzu on.
Tears of the Kingdom definitely came into the conversation. They made specific reference to it being downloaded illegally more than 1 million times prior to release, allegedly. It is worth noting that the Yuzu Patreon is apparently pulling in 30,000 a month and allegedly doubled Patreon paid members between May 1st and 12th. Right when Tears of the Kingdom was released. It's also notable that Nintendo had made specific reference to public warnings of spoilers on the internet and claiming that the resulting spoilers have caused damage. So that's kind of where I think we should start this. The claims that the spoilers themselves cause damage. Is there any actual merit to that?
There's a lot here. Yes, I do think there's merit to that. In short, how do I say it? There's all sorts of stuff that movie studios do, right? Or TV shows that are filmed way in advance to be like, everyone signs NDAs. Like, you can't talk about this show, or you can't talk about this movie till next day. You can't reveal this or this, detail about the movie until whenever, right? Those are things in place for the movie industry. Because the movie industry works. Movies are filmed like sometimes a year and a half in advance, and then all the post-production and editing and stuff comes to be. So when we see it a movie on the screen, we have to assume it was at least filmed a year ago. But how do we almost never get leaks about that stuff, and that's for a reason. Now, I don't know if the video game industry has the same sort of protections or NDAs or whatever behind it. But yeah, if you want to go by the logic that other entertainment mediums use, Steve, yeah, I think you could say that spoilers are damages.
If not, you can just indirectly use spoilers as proof that, hey, how the hell did they get all these million plus downloads before the game came out in the first place and then ruin all our shit?
Yeah, so Kevin, that's a good point. How are they going to explain away, we doubled our Patreons before the game came out? There's no way in court they can say, well, just everyone wanted to play Yuzu, right? There's no way they can explain that away, I think.
Yeah, definitely the people that were downloading it and playing it beforehand, as far as spoilers impacting the broader public, I don't know how to reconcile that. On one hand, I mean, for this game in specific, this is not, you're not playing Tears of the Kingdom most likely for the story. But I can see other games that, if they were completely spoiled for me before they came out, yeah, it would definitely kill my enthusiasm for it and potentially to the point of not playing it. So in this case, is it necessarily something that caused damage as far as just spoilers being out in the public. I don't know, but I think you can make an argument for sure that is possible.
Yeah, it is possible. And what I'm talking about in the movie industry is strict NDAs between people. Like Tom Cruise isn't allowed to talk about the next Mission Impossible until this date. We can't really do that on like a video game because there's no, like, yeah, people sign NDAs, but those are people who work on it, not necessarily the people who leaked it or put it out in the world. Actually, that's another thing, right? They're going after Yuzu. They're not going after the people who leaked Tears of the Kingdom in the first place. Maybe they already have, and we don't know about it, right?
Yeah, if it was an inside job of a developer like here or there, they might have taken care of it on the inside, fired, sued, on the side, and we never would have heard about it. This we're gonna.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about what the impacts of this lawsuit could be on emulation in general. And when I was bitching endlessly about Switch emulation last episode, I wish that was a point I probably should have brought up, because generally emulation is able to fly under the radar just enough that it's not getting too much scrutiny in modern day. And we talked about, where do we feel like emulation is moral or appropriate, right? We see the occasional takedown of ROM sites. And there was a thing, not too long ago where Dolphin was taking some heat and actually got pulled from Steam for having copyrighted code. But in general, it's for a very long time, emulators for older systems have been easily available and always accepted commonly that the emulation has legal standing. But we've got emulators for modern consoles. That's really pushing the limit, and of course they're going to draw ire. I don't want them to ruin what we do consider to be quote unquote moral emulation, and for this reason I do hope we don't see a broad precedent change from a decision out of this lawsuit. That's not the direction I want to see it go, but I also wouldn't feel too bad for this to not go well for the Yuzu team specifically, because again, I don't know. I just cannot get behind the idea of emulating on Switch or emulating the Switch.
Right. Now, this is probably something I should probably have researched beforehand, but this case just kind of happened yesterday and we didn't really have time. But do either of you know off the top of your head how the legal standing of emulators even came to be in the first place? Like, when and where was it decided that an emulator of a system within itself was not illegal, or you're allowed to have a ROM if you have a copy of the game, or however the quote unquote rules work, right? Was that like ever decided in a court, or like was that? Do you understand what I mean? Like, where did all of that come from?
I don't know specifically to be able to reference any cases, but I think it is definitely commonly understood that emulators themselves are legal as far as quote unquote being legal to own a ROM of something that's an actual backed up copy. I think that's definitely much more of a gray area. I've heard that companies like Nintendo will challenge that idea, saying that their terms of service state that you are only allowed to have the purchase copy of that. I've also heard, and I'm certainly not an expert on this, but that there are copyright laws that try to restrict that and say that kind of term of service is too restrictive on the customer. So I don't know exactly where that lies, but I think it's definitely been a thing. I mean, we think about something like another Metroid 2 remake, right? Something like that actually infringes copyright. Nintendo can take that down immediately. And we, quite often there's smaller fan games that don't get as much traction as AM2R gets. We don't even hear about it, but that shit gets pulled immediately. They'll put out a trailer on YouTube. It'll get a few thousand views, and then they get a cease and desist from Nintendo more or less immediately. But things like, RetroArch, numerous emulators for older systems have been really allowed to exist with impunity. And for good reason, I would argue.
Yeah. I think I'm not a legal eagle, obviously, but I think a lot of this came to a head when you guys remember Bleem for the PlayStation?
Sure do.
Play PlayStation games on your PC. What could be bad about that? Well, Sony had lots of opinions about that, and They sued those fuckers to the ground. That, like, Bleem won, but they like registered for bankruptcy shortly thereafter. And I think what a lot of that came down to was technically this isn't illegal since you're not directly encouraging people to save the ISOs onto your computer, wink wink, but people found a way to do it with Bleem anyway, and that wasn't their responsibility and all that whatever. But in the end, that didn't really matter. But I think a lot of people look at that and they say, oh, I can just play what I want anywhere. That was just very messy. Did anyone ever actually play that? It actually did better than PlayStation in some regard, but not in all. It was weird.
Well, there was Blame for Dreamcast, if you remember.
Yup.
And there was like 4 games that were supposed to come out, and only 2 of them came out before the lawsuit came down. One of the games that didn't come out was Final Fantasy fucking 9. That's why I was pissed. I was like, I want to, you know what I mean? Like, I want to try this PS1 game on my Dreamcast. Because like at that time, the Dreamcast had like the most premium PS1 ports, like playing like Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain or whatever on Dreamcast. It was like so like way, you know how it ran on PS1, like, you know, on Dreamcast it was like crazy good, or like even just stuff like Shadow Man or, you know, whatever, right? Like all that stuff was better on Dreamcast. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. So to play, to have that sort of like pass through sort of disc to be like, yeah, and yeah, people could abuse that, right? But I just wanted to play the games they provided for me. But yeah, so I do remember Bleem. And yeah, I do remember them winning, but of course, ultimately losing. That's what happened to Tengen as well, if you remember. The people who made their own NES carts and sold them in stores. We had a couple Tengen carts. I think we had Tengen Clacks. And
I got Shinobi. That's that was, they got that from Sega, and then they took the Famicom version of that and slapped it on a cart here.
Yeah. So, and then they also quote unquote won in court, but stuck around. Who actually won and survived? Game Genie?
But not for much longer.
Not for much longer, though. Yeah,
they couldn't. They made the Aladdin deck enhancer, which was supposed to really circumvent having to go through lot checks at Nintendo, but they shut down before they can ship them out.
I just think it's great. In a way, just not great, but like really, really funny that like Nintendo was up in the Yuzu Discord, man. The Nintendo lawyers.
Yeah.
That is crazy. They've been
what
collecting.
is up, fellow kids?
Yeah. They've been collecting this ammo for a long time, right? Because they're talking about shit from like 2018. In this thing, they're quoting tweets from like Stealth 40K and stuff. Like they went in.
Mm-hmm.
And man, the Nintendo ninjas are everywhere. People have asked why they haven't gone after Pal World yet, and that's because they're still building ammo. Think about how long this took Nintendo to do this to Yuzu, and Tears of the Kingdom came out like almost 9 months ago, right? So like, they're
Pal World might crater before it ever gets there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I cannot see a case against Pal World necessarily being made. I'm sure that they've scrutinized it, but I don't think that's ever going to come to a head necessarily.
I don't necessarily think so either, but they're definitely looking at it and building such case just in case they want to. I'm sure that they're keeping on it. But yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. No,
I think this Yuzu case is going to be really interesting to watch for the next few months. And I do not think this is the last time that we're going to talk about it on this show. As I mentioned to you guys offline, I also will be interested to see, because people feel very passionately about this. You see the people that say, yeah, fuck Yuzu, they shouldn't be doing this. Primarily the side that we fall on, but there's also people that are like, oh, fuck Nintendo and fucking bootlickers. And like, they're very, as far as they're concerned, users should be able to do whatever they want. I do think that it'll be interesting to watch and see public funding of Yuzu, because I actually expect that is going to be something that's going to happen, that people are going to start throwing money at Yuzu in support of them to finance their legal defense, which, yeah, I mean, is crazy. Again, I don't want this to go the direction of where like all other emulation is getting heavily scrutinized, or there's a legal precedent to start going after all of those. But It'll be interesting to see how the public responds to this, because we've never seen like a high profile emulation case that I'm aware of in the GoFundMe age.
I just got to say right now, if you are listening to the show and you throw money at a Yuzu GoFundMe fund for their legal fees, you are the biggest mark ever. I cannot, like, you are something else. You are the simp among simps. Get out of here. Can you imagine giving 1 red cent to a Yuzu donation fund for legal fees?
I can't buy video games, but I will give half my paycheck to another corporation's legal fees. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, fuck off.
But you guys don't disagree with me that is going to be a thing, right?
It'll be a thing. I mean, who knows how much it'll get funded? But yeah, of course it'll be a thing, because we're in an age where people are donating to like Trump's legal fees and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, of course, right? People are that fucking stupid. People will do that. But yeah, kind of circling back to what you said at the beginning, I think that's what pisses me off about Yuzu in general, is the fact that we all know how much Nintendo hates this. We all know what they could do to anybody if they wanted to do something about it, and now they are doing something about it. I would imagine Tears of the Kingdom being the biggest catalyst, being going too far, right? All something like Yuzu does is ruin it for everybody. That's all Yuzu is good for. Y'all got greedy as fuck, and now emulators as a whole are going to be under attack because of this. That really pisses me off. Like, the best and quite frankly only preservation tactic that we have is being threatened because some fucking jackoff at Kotaku had to make an article basically advocating to steal Metroid Dread, or you know what I mean? Shit like that. People got way too goddamn comfortable with this shit. And I don't know if that Metroid Dread thing is in the lawsuit or not. It should be. But that's basically why all of this is happening. And if you ask me, that's never, ever what emulation was supposed to be for. So that really pisses me off in that regard.
Amen. 100%.
Yeah, it's for when we can't get Battle Arena to Shin done for some reason, and we have a podcast, and we got to play them all.
Yeah.
That's what emulation's for.
That's what it's for, man. You know what it's for right now? Me laying in bed at 4 a.m. on my fat belly and playing like Tokyo Extreme Racer Zero on my Steam Deck, man. I just want to play Tokyo Extreme Racer. Like, don't punish me because you guys want to steal like Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake. Like, Jesus Christ, guys.
Yuzu would have been great in 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, not now. I mean, I've never tried Yuzu. It's actually part of the package that installed on the Steam Deck. I'll talk about that probably next show. Actually, we'll do a Steam Deck thing because I'll have enough.
Could you opt out of that, or was that an automatic thing?
You can opt out. You can have it. You can pick and choose which things it will install. I just thought it was easier for me to just install everything, and then I'll uninstall the ones I don't want, which is why Yuzu was on there. But so don't come after me, Nintendo. I didn't really want Yuzu. I just wanted to play Shinobi 2002 on PS2 on my fucking gut in bed, okay? Like, I'm sorry. That's all I want. Leave me alone. Let me play Soul Blazer in peace, okay? Oh, man. But yeah, I think that's all I got to say about that. I mean, if anyone out there knows any more about the legal standing of the emulator, like how we even got to because that's been the case since the 90s, right? I've always heard that about emulators, but I don't know if that's just something people made up or whatever. So
I think the best reason they're making this suit right now is because it's for a system they're selling right now. They're not going to go back and attack the Visual Boy Advance emulator because that's not what they're selling right now.
Yep.
That I don't know. I mean, if Nintendo got away with this in a big way and made the argument that emulation in general is incredibly damaging to us, and they were awarded based on that, I would not be surprised to see them start going after, more heavily after Dolphin. And like, I mean, they can definitely make the argument that they're still generating revenue based off of games from those systems. And therefore, emulation from NES or Super Nintendo is imposing on them. I would not be surprised, and I do not want that to happen.
I do not want that to happen either. And yeah, they could make that case, right? Like, yeah, I could play Devil World on Nintendo Switch Online now, but I couldn't until like this year in my entire life. That was not the case, right? So like if I have that on emulator, you know, the situation changes, right? And like for me, I don't know about you guys, it doesn't preclude me from buying stuff. Like I remember in 2003, I got into like doing like Dreamcast emulation stuff, like burning discs of like NES or shit or whatever, and like playing it on Dreamcast. I played the entire NES, like Mega Man 1 through 6, right? Guess what? Fucking Mega Man Anniversary Collection or whatever it's called in GameCube comes out the next year. I bought that shit and I played them again. It doesn't preclude me from buying something that's like official and like a real thing versus a ROM. You know, that's just me. It doesn't stop me. It might stop other people.
I think it does stop a lot of other people because them DS and Game Boy Advance flashcards were very popular, and those were under litigation for a long time too before they shut that down. You know, the ones that I definitely just used to play Mother 3 and nothing else.
Steve has a fat guy topic. We're three fat guys. We're three bearded guys on a podcast with glasses. Who would have thunk it, right? So, Steve, ask us the fat guy topic.
So there's a bit of a preamble, you know, well, little inside baseball. For Christmas, I like to smoke nuts and season them with things and send them to people I'm on the show with. You guys, the Poke Pals. And you guys like that, right?
Sure do.
So, well, sort of. Or I get a little better each time, I think. But, it occurred to me the last time, like, you know what I could really go for right now? Some Spanish peanuts. I haven't had Spanish peanuts in forever. Guys, I can't find Spanish peanuts for the fucking life of me at the bulk store. At the bulk club store. I'm like, how do we not in God's earth do we not have Spanish peanuts in 2020, the 2020s? Please tell me you know what I'm talking about before I continue.
I'm very sad to say I have no idea what Spanish peanuts are.
Okay.
I don't know what Spanish peanuts
are the great compromise for okay, you know, peanuts, they're messy as hell in the shells, and you know, I live in a house, you guys. I don't live in my backyard, so I'm not going to buy peanuts in the shells and throw them on the floor. So what's great about Spanish peanuts is that they're a little smaller and they still got the skins on them. Now, some people might call that sacrilege. Like, I want them skinned and roasted. I'm like, nah, I like this. It's the nice middleman to, you know, me not throwing shells all over the fucking place. So, where the fuck are the Spanish peanuts? I'm feel like I'm losing my goddamn mind. Okay, maybe I just need to go to a regular ass grocery store. No, they're not fucking there. I go to other fucking grocery stores. They don't have them the fuck there either. I'm going on the Planner's website. Look, and they're like, yeah, here's the label with Spanish peanuts on them. Isn't that great? Great. Where can I buy some? I don't know. With your smug ass Mr. Peanut standing there. Nowhere near you, apparently. So now I got to go on Amazon and buy the loose plastic bag of Spanish peanuts. Like, I keep bringing up the guy in a card table in New York, but this is what it is. Like, yeah, you got any of them Spanish peanuts there? yeah, that's great. Yeah. Bring cash. I'm like, there's got to be a better way. And this story has a slightly happy ending because I'm in the shitty Italian grocery store, not the good Italian grocery store, just like buying something else. Like, holy shit, these guys have legitimate Spanish peanuts. I'm like, why are they here? Why and nowhere else? And I'm buying 3, and the guy at the register is like looking at me funny. I'm like, just bring them up. Just bring them the fuck up. Why the judgment? I just want peanuts as nature intended without having to open them myself because, you know, I live in a society where I can't have peanut shells on the floor. What's wrong with that?
Okay, there's a lot to take in here. One, are you a fucking elephant? What are you gonna just crush the peanut like in your snout there and just like peanut dust is gonna go over the place? I'm sure you can find a way to eat the peanuts that isn't gonna like get all over the place.
Okay, one, I'm a fairly messy eater, so not entirely the case. Two, Stella, the bulldog that I live with, is a very big peanut enthusiast. She more likes it in peanut butter form, but once she catches the whiff of peanuts, is like, yeah, what do we got over here? Yeah, you got peanuts. You got peanut butter. Oh, it's solid. I can work with this, and then she'll just inhale the entire container, and that's not entirely good either. And I'm sure she would try to swallow shells, and that would be a very expensive trip to the vet. And like, why do you have circus peanuts? Well, no, circus peanuts are the candy, but why do you have circus grade peanuts in your house and access to the dog?
Because your name is in fact Dumbo. How does Butter feel about peanuts so far?
Butter is he's a bit more skeptical of human food.
Okay.
Stella eats berries and things that will give her, but Dwar's like, I don't know if I should be eating this. But once he sees Stella eating it, and really when she goes over, like, hey, you still got that thing? Can I have it? Like, then he figures he should eat it.
Okay, so
it's kind of funny.
I haven't had to go through that myself, but you guys, I shared with you my saga of trying to track down butter rum lifesavers last year. So I have full empathy for you, Steve. When you want that thing and you can't find it anywhere, it becomes an obsession.
Yeah.
But I got to go to like the shitty Italian grocery store, not the good one where I've said people hear things before, but the bad one, the one that's like, I don't know, don't go here.
How bad could they be? They have Spanish peanuts.
No, I know, and then that's like the one place to get them now. Everyone else is like, did you try fucking Walmart? Yeah, I tried fucking Walmart. They don't got it there.
I would never go to Walmart for a Spanish peanut. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being like snobby or something. I can't imagine they would be at Walmart.
I'm just more upset that you guys never heard of it till now, and now because I saw you, Andre, with the whole hashtag Steve is canceled party. He wants Spanish peanuts. That's got to be something terrible.
Oh no, I wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking like, I don't know how to tell him I don't know what Spanish peanuts are. Like I was just trying to think of a way to break you the news, I was just, but yeah, okay. I'm glad you found them. You'll have to show me a picture of the Spanish peanuts. I got
a container nearby. I'll take a picture.
Yeah,
this is going to look like peanuts with the skin on them. That's all it looks like, right?
Uncircumcised peanuts.
Yeah, they're good.
I just don't know why he needs a picture. Like,
I want to
see in the shell and crack the shell open, and then look at the peanuts.
I want to see the goddamn
That's
peanuts.
What they look like.
No, I want to.
All
no,
right.
That is not what I desire. Okay.
Those aren't Spanish enough for you?
No, I want to see the Spanish peanuts in the flesh, in the peanut.
All right.
Jesus. Okay. You know what? I hear the judgment in your voice. Okay. And I don't really need this right now. Don't talk to me this way.
Okay.
How dare
Fat guy topics are supposed to be a judgment-free zone, Kevin.
Well, not the guy who judged you for ringing up your Spanish peanuts. Apparently he was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? How many did you get? Did you get like pounds of Spanish peanuts, or did you just get like?
I got it. Well, the Amazon bag was weird. It was like a weird nondescript bag, like from one of those candy overstock sites.
Okay,
but that Amazon was shipping. But after that, I got like Planters brand Redskin Spanish peanuts. I'll take a picture.
Thank you.
When we're done here.
Thank you, Kevin. I want to see the peanuts.
You don't need to send the picture to me, Steven. I can visualize, but
wow. No, send it in our Discord and send it like 3 times. Send like 5 different angles of the peanuts so he can look.
No.
Wow.
I'm gonna mute hashtag peanut.
Wow. Oh, this is a turn I was not expecting for this.
All right, we're going to get out of here. But before I do, you have an announcement first. Next big deal. So 2 weeks from now, we're going to be doing the listener mailbag. Okay? So feel free to hit us up with your questions via Twitter, Blue Sky, email, findtimepodcast@gmail.com if you want to email us. However you want to submit them. We'll also send out tweets and skeets where to submit questions, and you can submit them just reply to those posts on social media and submit as many questions as you want. We love answering them. Last time we got to all of them, which was great. People submitted some multiple ones, and that was cool. So yeah, listener mailbag next week. Again, we'll put out reminders. Or not next week, next big deal. So 2 weeks from now. But other than that, we're going to get the fuck out of here. Join us on Twitter at Fine Time Podcast. Look in the description of this podcast to find our names on Blue Sky. See you next time. Bye.